So this is 2009. Whoops. And the question that I am doing is actually question 3. Okay. So Nick is a farmer. He is contracted to deliver a minimum of 10 tonnes and a maximum of 20 tonnes. So that's between 10 and 20 of corn. So C is corn. Okay. Nick is also contracted to deliver at least 15 and no more than 30 tonnes of tomatoes. So that here is your tomatoes. So it's between the 15 and the 30, and it can be including. For every tonne of corn that Nick produces, he needs 8 hectares of land. So that's that bit there relates to there. And for every tonne of tomato he produces, he needs 11 hectares of land. So that's here. And he only has 440 hectares available for the 2 crops. So it's got to be less than or equal to the 440. Nick's income from each tonne of corn is 1250, and from each tonne of tomato is 3000. Let C be the corns, or rather the number of tonnes of corn, and T be the number of tonnes of tomatoes produced. A linear programming problem for Nick's situation has the following constraints. So what are the other numbers going to be used for? What are these numbers here going to be used for? Say again? The income, yeah, the equation. So the income equation is going to be what? 1250 times each tonne of corn plus 3000 each tonne of tomato. And what do we want to do with the income? Yeah, and we want to find a max, isn't it? Because we want to make the most money possible. Okay, so this graph is clearly marked. So with the corn, what was our limits on that? Corn had to be between 10 and 20. And do we shade out or shade in? We shade out. So it can't be here. And it can't be here. Does that make sense? Because it's got to be between 10 and 20 tonnes. And then, if I just grab another colour, we're looking here at the 30 and 15. And what did we have to do with tomatoes? Our tomatoes had to be between 15 and 30. Yeah, so we can't have below 15 and we can't have above 30. So that's all shaded out. So at the moment we've got this box in the middle. Okay, so what's our next one? It says here. Now, when we shade out, we're shading the bits that we're throwing them away, if you like. How are we going to test which way to shade this? You're then able to give us the line. But one way I do is I say, okay, what's a point that's not on the line? And I can see the point that's not on the line is the point 0, 0, and that's a nice easy point. So I'm just picking an easy point. And so then I'm going 0 less than or equal to 440. So where did I get this 0 from? I went 8 times 0 plus 11 times 0. So I got 0. Is that true or false? It's true. So which way do I shade it? Say again? Yeah, because this point here, 0, 0, is actually true, and we're shading out, so we need to shade that bit out. Okay, so now we have got lots of points. Okay, now you can do a little bit of a process of elimination here. If we look at these points, which ones do you think you could consider? Should we put the values in first? That's probably a good idea. So what's this value? The C coordinate, the corners, 20, and what's the other coordinate? What's the equation of this line? (8c) plus 11t equals 440. So we've got the C is 20, yeah? So we're going to have 8 times 20 plus 11t equals 440, and we're solving for t. What's another way of doing this? Yep, solver. Or I just want to show you another thing on the calculator that someone earlier had forgotten about, and that's when you're graphing. Let's just graph our C equals, X equals, so we can go type, and we can go X equals, and what does X equal for this line here? It was 20. There's our 20. So X equals 20, and then that other function that we want to be this this one here, how are we going to put that in the calculator? We can make t the subject, because that's like our y is our t, so we can say t, and I'm just going to make it equals at the minute, 440. How are we going to get this to the other side? Minus 8c over 11. Okay, so we can pop that in by going type, that is actually y equals this time, and we're going to go bracket 440 minus 8x divided by 11. Okay, shift view window is what I wanted to show you. So if I look at the actual graph that I'm given here, I can see that my x minimum is 0 and my x max is 60. So it's important to know that you can go the 0 and the 60. And then the y minimum is 0. And what's my y max? Maybe let's go 50, because the graph kept going. And then what's on my calculator looks more like what's on the paper. And then how would I find that point? G-solve intersection. I didn't do it. Shift, G-solve, intersection. Normally it comes up and gives you the point. It's just not. Weird. Shift, G-solve, do a Y calc, enter X value of 20. I don't know why it didn't before. So 25.45. Weird. Maybe it's because they're two different types, I don't know. Okay, so we've got our point. Yeah. Now, what's this, the point here? X coordinate or corn coordinate is and what's our tomato coordinate? Okay, logically, is that one going to have more profit than that? No, so that one we really don't care about, yeah? And same issue here. What's that coordinate? 10, 30. And this one here? I'm going to just use my calculator. I am going to get rid of that one. Delete. Yep. And I'm only just going to worry about this one. And I'm just going to go a shift G-solve.
What about go exit and go to
Yep, I can trace, but the other thing I can do is I've got my x value is, no, my y value is 30, so I can do an x calc and say my y value is 30.
Yeah,
That's all right. And so we've got x is 13.75. So 13.75, 30. And so, yeah, your other way that you were just saying is trace. So shift G solve. No, just shift trace. And you can go up and down the thing. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty, so now we have got this point, and we've said that point and that point is kind of not, they're not going to be better. So what do we do with these 2 points? We need to plug them into here. And then how do we choose which point's the best? The one with the most money, absolutely. So let's just check our answer scheme. We're going down to question 3. And so we had the point 20, 25, and we had 13.75, 30. And we plugged them both in, so those are the values we should get, and then you need to have a statement. He should grow 13 3/4 tonnes of corn and 30 tonnes of tomatoes. Must have the 13 3/4 or 13.75. You can't round it to 14 tonnes because then you'll be outside the constraints. Okay, so that's really important. So I think you can work through that yourself, yeah? Okay.